week 2. I'm so excited to be here with you today. While I wish I could see you, I'm seeing the beautiful camera lens and the amazing videographer and producer for this series. But you have the opportunity to email and connect with us at any time if you'd like to share your story, and I would love to hear how you're doing. We both would. We're now going to move into a 3-minute breathing exercise, and this is how we're going to open every single one of our sessions together. So I'd like you to get comfortable, get a blanket, lay down if you want to, and I need you to close your eyes. I want you to tune in to your breath, the in and the out, not changing anything, simply allowing your breath to be. And as your mind wanders, coming back to the breath, bringing attention to your feet, to your legs, your knees and your hips, your joints that help you to move, to find balance. Bringing your attention up towards the buttocks and the pelvis, your lower back. And just registering what's happening there. Perhaps you've never checked in with your pelvis or low back, and you're discovering some new and exciting sensations. Bringing your attention to your stomach. Our stomach and our gut has so much to tell us if we choose to listen, and we'll be talking about that together. Running your attention up your spine, to your upper back, your shoulders, chest, and your heart. Tuning into the rhythm of your heartbeat if you can. Bringing your attention up through your neck, to your mouth and your jaw. You can hold much tension here, and relaxing your tongue so that it's resting in your mouth, not glued to the top. To your eyes, top of your head, and releasing any energy that you wish to release. Now bringing your attention back to the breath, the in and the out. And now tuning in to any noises that are around you. Perhaps it's the sound of your house creaking, the furnace going, depending on what climate you live in. And gently opening your eyes and coming back to a seated position. So today, we're talking about loving kindness. You spent the whole week, every single day, doing your loving kindness meditation, right? What was that like? What came up for you when you were doing that? Did you write it down? Did you capture any of your thoughts, feelings, experiences? Again, we'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to share. So, what is loving kindness? Well, for each of us, we are going to define it in the way that works for us, but loving kindness to me is about compassion. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is the definition of compassion today as well. But to me, loving kindness or having compassion for ourselves isn't often our usual state. Unfortunately, I think we spend a lot of time over-identifying with thoughts and painful experiences or painful notions and ideas or stories that we've created about ourselves or that others have created for us. And we spend a lot of time thinking about how we may not be good enough, or how we're not showing up enough as a parent or at work, or we're exercising enough, or that our clothing isn't as good as so-and-so's, or we aren't as put together, or our homes aren't. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we can see and learn a lot more about people's lives through social media. And while that's beautiful in many ways, I'm not here to poo-poo and throw it all out, throw the baby out with the bathwater, to use a really unfortunate expression. But we see into others' lives and we see the curated, the perfect, the best smile, the best photo out of 20, and we assume that that's what their life is like all the time. We don't see the realities. And then we base our version or our ratings of ourselves, and we do participate, we rate ourselves all the time, compare ourselves to others. We base it based on that. And then we're setting the bar so unbelievably high that everything can be quite unattainable. And so we run around this incessant track of thinking and defining ourselves based on the stories that we're telling ourselves on how well we perform, or how well we plan, or how well we entertain, or how well we parent. But the thing is that we are not our thoughts. And I remember reading that in Eckhart Tolle in The Power of Now, probably about 10 or 11 years ago. And I remember that stopping me in my tracks. Because for the first 21 years of my life, sorry, that's really bad math, okay? For the first 23 years of my life, 33 minus 10 equals 23, thank you, Morgan. I spent a lot of time over-identifying with my thoughts and thinking, if I thought it, it must be true. But how many times have we thought something that is absolutely not true? Not only about ourselves, but about others. We create some really powerful narratives based on the information that we've gathered that is oftentimes based on fiction versus fact. We think that we're really good fact checkers, but we're not. We engage in confirmation bias all over the place, as opposed to correcting our version of reality. So when I read that we are not our thoughts, it gave me a moment for pause. And it was incredibly freeing for me. Because what Eckhart Tolle talks about is that if we listen too much to our thoughts and they define who we are and the model of ourselves, we can become a slave to our tormentor, which can create some really unfortunate places where self-compassion does not reside. But the other side, and the hopeful side, is that we actually can start to look at our mind as a tool that we can use and leverage when we need to, because we do need to use it. We do need to think. We do need to problem solve. We do need to go to work and make money. And in order for us to do that, we need to be able to think and be successful within our field. We need to be able to think through challenges in our relationships with our children. But if we start to hone in and look at this as a tool, we can also know when to pick it up, but also know when to put it down. And when we can put it down, Eckhart Tolle also talks about creating, as we become the observer who has power over this tool, we start to become the observer of the observer, getting really meta here, and we can start to observe our thoughts. And when we start to observe our thoughts, we have more power over them. Okay, and that is the power of meditation and mindfulness, is that it creates the space for us to become the observer, to then notice the gaps in between our thoughts. And the gaps in between our thoughts, when we first start bringing awareness to it, are going to be kind of small. That's normal, right? It'll be like, what's for dinner? Pause. Oh, look, shiny thing, okay? And then over time, we're going to start to see those gaps increase. And there will be more between the next jump in the monkey mind. Isn't that cool? I kind of like that visualization of the gaps between our thoughts. And then as we start to create more gaps, we start to realize when our narrative of ourself or others or of situations is running amok, is misleading us. Because that mind is powerful. And those mental models that we formed as a kid, as a teenager, as an adult, which continue to form over time, whether through us or through others, hold great power over us and how we show up. Our past wounds, okay, our past experiences greatly dictate and infiltrate who we are, but they don't necessarily have to. You actually hold the power to change that. So, what is loving kindness or compassion? So the following definition comes from the work of Dr. Kristen Neff. And at the end of this session today, I do encourage you to go online and do her self-compassion assessment, and we will include the link for you. But self-compassion is about extending loving kindness to ourselves rather than harsh criticism and judgment. It's seeing our experience as part of the larger human experience rather than separate and isolating. And lastly, it's holding our pain and our experiences in balanced awareness rather than over-identifying with them. I'm now going to ask you a series of questions to help you start to understand what are the tracks that your mind runs around, and starting to create the power of you becoming the observer of your thoughts, your feelings, and experiences. What track does your mind run around? Where does your tormentor take you? If you aren't sure, that's okay. Spend 20 minutes observing your thoughts and see what arises. How can having distance and creating gaps in our thoughts allow us to cultivate compassion and a more deep and honest sense of love for ourselves? And if compassion and self-love is difficult for you, why? Why do you think it's difficult for you? Does anything in your current day-to-day help or hinder this? And if so, how can you start to explore addressing this in a meaningful way? Okay, so you got some serious questions for contemplation. Okay, self-introspection is hard work, but man oh man, is it good work. It's so cool when you start to uncover more and more facets of yourself. And I'm so excited I get to bring this in. If you start to have dreams of houses and rooms, especially rooms with water, in Jungian psychology, that means you're starting to unlock different parts of who you are, which is so, so cool. But anyways, we can leave that for another day. So of course, like every time we part ways, I will leave you with some homework. And your homework for next week is to engage in a 30-minute body scan. Oh yeah, baby. I'm not joking around. Every single day. Do as best you can to bring it to life. And you're going to be paying attention and really tuning in to your physical body. So the sensations in your physical body. Again, you're going to need some time. So how can you carve out that time for yourself? And you're going to need a space where you feel safe enough to close your eyes, to get comfortable, and to tune inwards for 30 minutes. Thank you so much for your attention. I can't wait to connect with you next time.